Hi there, I'm Rowena. At my sister's birthday, she smiled at me in front of everyone, then treated me like the hired help behind the scenes. No seat at the table, no name on the list, just a mop and a fake thank you. So I sent her an invoice for $20,000. Voided, with one note, 100% off, sisterhood gone. But what really broke me? It wasn't the task list or the spilled champagne. It was realizing I'd been used in plain sight for years, and no one ever said a word. How does a family let that happen? When Jolene's voice message came through, I was sitting at my kitchen table, half distracted by a spreadsheet from work and the hum of the dishwasher in the background. Hey sis, I just need a tiny favor, like help with some event stuff. You're so good at this and I'm drowning in prep. I smiled. It wasn't the first time she'd asked for help, and probably wouldn't be the last. Jolene had that sing-song tone she always used when she wanted something. It sounded light, casual, like this was no big deal. I texted back, of course, anything for you. 3 words. That's all it took to rope me in. By the next day, I had 5 emails from her. Guest list spreadsheets, table mock-ups, caterer menus, color palettes. I just need an extra pair of eyes. Quickly turned into me managing her entire birthday party like it was a corporate event. She even asked me to help her find a florist in Bellevue last minute. I work in logistics, so juggling multiple threads isn't new to me. But doing that while managing a full client calendar and late-night vendor calls for her party? That started to wear thin. Still, I told myself it was fine. She was my sister. Family helps. A few days in, she texted me again. Oh, also, can we keep it on the low that you're helping? I kind of want people to think I pulled this off myself. You know how people are. I hesitated. That sat in my chest differently. Still, I replied, sure, whatever makes you happy. Funny thing is, a few of her friends messaged me later, praising Jolene's planning skills. She's so organized, one of them wrote. I typed out a reply, deleted it. Let them think what they want. The tone of her text started to shift. Gone were the sweet emojis and thank yous. Now it was just, can you fix the RSVP link? I'm swamped. We lost the dessert vendor. Can you call someone in Seattle? No, please. No, appreciate you. And then Colby chimed in during a family video call, grinning like he thought it was a compliment. Honestly, you're saving our asses. Jolene would be lost without you. I forced a laugh. But deep down, something was changing. 3 weeks of balancing invoices, dealing with flaky decorators, and updating guest lists between my own deadlines had me running on fumes. Still, I convinced myself it would all be worth it. Until last night. She sent me the updated seating chart. I glanced through it quickly, checking for any issues, then scanned for my name. Nothing. I opened the PDF again, slower this time, checked every table, cross-referenced the guest list. Still nothing. I double-checked for a reserved family table. There was one, with my parents, Colby's parents, his cousins, and not me. I stared at the screen. My chest went still. Maybe she just forgot. I packed my car the next morning before sunrise, more out of habit than excitement. The sky was still bruised with blue, and the coffee in my thermos had barely kicked in when I pulled onto I-5 heading north. The silence in the car was loud. I kept telling myself she probably just forgot to add me to the chart. Maybe it was a last-minute glitch. She was always last minute. By the time I arrived in Bellevue, the sun was high, the venue gleaming like something out of a bridal magazine. Twinkling string lights crisscrossed the entry canopy, and white hydrangeas bloomed in tall silver vases flanking the entrance. I stepped out carefully, smoothing my dress, gift in hand, an engraved crystal vase Jolene once pointed out in a catalog months ago. The girl at the welcome desk smiled with practiced ease. Clipboard in hand, she asked for my name. Rowena, I said, adjusting my tote on my shoulder. She flipped a few pages, her brow creased. I don't see a Rowena here. I blinked. Try under family? I'm Jolene's sister. Oh, wait! Her finger stopped. You're listed under logistics support. Are you with the vendor crew? There was a pause. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I shook my head slowly. No, I'm family. She looked up, unsure. Sorry, this is just what I was given. Before I could answer, Jolene passed by, all high heels and champagne-colored silk. She didn't slow down. "That's my sister," she called over her shoulder, barely glancing. "She's just helping out today. We needed all hands." My chest tightened. The girl smiled again, but it didn't reach her eyes this time. I nodded once tightly and walked past the table. Inside, the party was already alive. Music humming through ceiling speakers, clusters of guests sipping rosé. I tried to breathe through it, keep my face neutral. I spotted a few familiar faces from her social circles, though none looked my way. Then a voice chirped behind me, high and sugary. "Wait, you're here?" I turned to see Brielle, Jolene's skincare influencer friend with 300K followers and an endless archive of outfit reels. She blinked at me, lips parted. "I didn't know Jolene had a sister. Honestly, I thought you were one of the florists." Another woman beside her giggled. "Yeah, the dress is kinda vendorcore, but cute though." They laughed and walked off before I could say anything. I stood still for a moment, then turned toward the seating chart. My name was nowhere. Again. Eventually, the coordinator directed me toward the overflow table. It was a narrow fold-out chair tucked behind a pillar, right next to the swinging kitchen doors. Every time the door opened, a gust of heat and the scent of garlic chicken hit my face. From my seat, I could see the champagne bar, the gold-framed photo booth, the designer cake, everything I helped make possible. But no one saw me. I tightened my grip on the gift in my lap and whispered, "Maybe I don't belong in her life anymore." I stayed seated for a while, pretending to scroll my phone, though my screen hadn't changed in 5 minutes. A server brushed past me with a tray of champagne flutes, barely noticing. The buzz of the party felt distant, like I was watching it from underwater. That's when I saw him. Malik. He was standing just past the dessert table, laughing, glass in hand, one foot angled casually toward Jolene. He looked the same, polished, confident, that effortless charm he always carried like a second skin. My heart gave a strange, hollow thud. I hadn't seen Malik in almost 2 years. We dated for 4, nearly got engaged before he decided he needed space to grow. His version of space was vanishing without warning and reappearing 6 weeks later, on Jolene's Instagram story. She had captioned it, "Still fam, always fam." I never brought it up, never asked her why he was still around, why she let him stay in her world while mine was falling apart. Malik leaned in to say something to her. She giggled, an actual giggle, and touched his wrist. I looked away. My mouth tasted like pennies. I opened Instagram, needing a distraction, and there it was, freshly posted 15 minutes ago, a story from Malik. A photo of him and Jolene, arms looped together, standing in front of the cake I helped her pick out. Text across the bottom, "Celebrating my favorite girl # supportive fam." My fingers clenched the phone tighter than I realized. I locked the screen and set it face down on my lap, breathing through my nose, slow and deliberate. The burn in my chest didn't come from jealousy. It was betrayal, refined, repeated, and now applauded. I looked across the room again. Jolene stood near the stage, waving Malik toward her. He made his way through the crowd, pausing to shake hands and smirk. He passed right by me. No glance, no pause, no nod. Just walked past like I was part of the wallpaper. I caught my reflection in the window behind me. I didn't recognize the woman staring back. She looked tired, smaller, as if every piece of her had been slowly chipped away and rearranged to make space for everyone else. I leaned forward slightly, voice low, meant for no one but me. Did they always see me as this invisible? I stood from my seat and walked toward the hallway that wrapped behind the ballroom. My legs felt stiff, like they didn't quite want to move with me. I needed air, or at least distance. Once I was steady enough, I made my way toward the gift table. I hadn't seen anyone open presents yet, but I figured maybe Jolene planned it for later. I just wanted to see if my gift was still there. Just to know it mattered. The table was cluttered now. Balloons drooped over the edges. Bright gift bags, big shiny bows, and oversized boxes filled most of the surface. Mine wasn't among them. I scanned the area. That's when I spotted it. My wrapped package half hidden behind a stack of empty catering trays. Still in the box I'd packed it in. Not unwrapped, not acknowledged, buried. As I stepped closer, I heard Brielle's voice behind me. "Wait, Who brings a whiskey set to a birthday party? That's kind of dad energy. Someone else replied, totally, like what even is that supposed to mean? They giggled, already walking away. I stared down at the box. A custom engraved crystal decanter set. Classy, timeless. Jolene had once pointed to that exact style in a magazine, years ago, saying, "That's grown-up chic. I love that." I remembered. Of course I remembered. My fingers hovered over the ribbon. Then I turned and walked back toward the edge of the ballroom, where I spotted my mother leaning against the side wall near the photo booth. "Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "did Jolene mention anything about the gift I brought?" She raised a brow, half distracted. "What gift?" "The decanter set. It was on the registry for a while. I ordered it weeks ago." She shrugged, folding her arms. "Honey, don't overthink it. Jolene probably just got busy. You know how she is, always caught up in a whirlwind. She's just playing." "Playing?" I echoed. "She didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You always take things so seriously. Lighten up." I nodded once and stepped back. There it was again, that quiet permission everyone gave her to be careless. They never asked why she did things. They only asked why I cared. What no one saw was me spending hours calling vendors, rescheduling a flight to make the party, skipping a quarterly work summit I'd prepped for all month. They didn't see the nights I stayed up cross-checking RSVPs, fixing her florist crisis, and choosing that gift like it actually meant something. None of that made it to the highlight reel. Back at the gift table, I picked up the box. It was heavier than I remembered. I held it for a moment, then glanced over my shoulder. There she was, Jolene, standing next to Malik and Colby, laughing as a photographer adjusted their pose. "Can we get a shot without the lady in the background?" he asked, motioning toward me. I stepped out of frame. Then I turned, walked over to the bench by the hallway, and carefully set the gift down. I looked one more time at the glass in her hand, raised high in celebration. She had no idea how many pieces of me were sitting under her spotlight. Next time she calls me too sensitive, she'll see how clear I've become. The music shifted to something more upbeat, and chatter filled the air as guests drifted toward the dessert table. I stayed near the back, just watching. My feet ached in those nude heels I regretted wearing. A server carrying a tray of champagne passed through a crowd of guests, and someone, probably tipsy, bumped into him. The tray tilted. Crystal flutes clinked. One fell, shattering at the edge of the table, golden liquid spilling like it was nothing. A waiter bent down immediately, grabbing a towel. Then Jolene's voice cut through the buzz. "Rowena, could you handle that?" I froze. The room didn't. She smiled at the waiter. "She's great at handling this kind of stuff. Seriously, she does this for a living." My hands curled into fists. Some heads turned. A few people paused their conversations to look my way. My heart didn't race. No, it stayed steady, which felt even more terrifying. I stepped forward, took the towel from the stunned waiter, and knelt to soak up the champagne like I had nothing better to do. No one offered to help. As I stood, wiping my hands on the edge of the towel, I felt a presence behind me. Colby. "You really do this better than the staff," he chuckled quietly. "Guess you always were great at the support roles." I turned and looked him dead in the eyes. He gave me a crooked grin and walked away like he'd just handed me a compliment. I stood still for another beat. Then I folded the towel and walked straight to Jolene, who was laughing with Brielle. I didn't smile. "I'm not your staff, not your fixer, not your stagehand. I'm your sister, and I'm done being your convenient tool." She blinked, confused. "Whoa, dramatic much?" "You think this is dramatic?" I said, loud enough for the people nearby to hear. "Wait till you see what's next." The laughter died down around us. Brielle's hand fell from her glass. Colby was watching again, now leaning stiffly against the bar. Jolene narrowed her eyes. "Are you threatening me? At my own birthday?" I leaned in just enough. "No," I whispered. "I'm finally educating you." She didn't respond. For once, Jolene had no line ready, no comeback rehearsed, no fake laugh to hide behind. People were staring. I didn't care. I stepped back slowly, raising my chin. "You wanted to play boss, Jolene?" I said. "Then be ready to get the bill." The hotel room was quiet when I walked in, but my thoughts were anything but. I kicked off my shoes, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the blinking cursor on my laptop screen. The champagne stain on my dress was starting to crust. I didn't care. All I could think about was that laugh, hers, and the look in Colby's eyes when I told her the truth. I opened my photo folder. There were dozens. Screenshots of the planning emails, pictures of decor samples, a delivery schedule I'd pieced together when her vendor dropped out. And the seating chart, where my name was marked Logistics Vendor Access Only. I uploaded a slideshow, captioned it simply, helped plan the party, booked vendors, got the venue discount, then was told I was too sensitive while sitting behind the kitchen. I hit post. 10 minutes later, my notifications started pinging. A coworker commented, "Knew something felt off when you said you were going up there just to help. This isn't helping, this is being used." Another, "This is heartbreaking but also so brave." Danae messaged, "About damn time, you've been holding their world up too long." I set the phone down and let the glow of the screen fill the room. By morning, I'd gone semi-viral, within our little social circle anyway. A cousin reposted it. One of Jolene's old roommates commented, "Explains a lot." I wasn't sure what I expected. Then I checked my email. Subject, "Damage control, remove immediately." Jolene. The body of the email was short. "You made your point. Take it down. Families seeing this. Clients too. Don't ruin everything over a chair." Jolene. She had CC'd our parents, and Colby, a chair. That's what she reduced it to. Not the gift tossed aside, not the years of invisible support, not the floor I was told to mop on her big night. Just a chair. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a new story. I cropped out the sender's name but left the rest untouched. Captioned it, "Accountability isn't drama, silence isn't peace, and a chair isn't just a chair when it's the only one not meant for you." Jolene had made it public. I was going to finish it that way too. The post was still climbing in shares by the time I got the DM. Celeste. Her message was short, careful. "Hey, Rowena. Just wanted to say I'm really sorry. I was asked to pull the pics where you were in frame. Client's request. Hope you understand." I didn't answer right away. I opened Jolene's page instead. 27 photos from the party. The cake, the champagne, the crowd, Malik, Colby, even the flower arrangements. But not a single photo with me. I remembered standing right beside Jolene when the photos were taken. I was holding the clipboard, double-checking names for the dessert timing, so I scrolled deeper. Nothing, not even a cropped elbow. Then I called Merle, the planner. She answered on the second ring. Her tone was flat, nervous. "Rowena, hey. Did you know they tagged me as a vendor?" I asked calmly. "I mean, the venue just needs someone listed in that slot," she said quickly. "It's not personal. I just handle the schedule. You know how these things go." "You knew I wasn't a vendor," she sighed. "I just do what I'm paid to do." I closed my eyes for a beat. "And your silence? Is that paid too?" No response. I hung up. That afternoon, Jolene posted a boomerang of her sipping coffee on her porch, captioned, "No drama, just love plus loyalty." Then a second story. "Supportive sisters always cheer you on, even when they're not the star." That one stung, not because it was true, but because it was polished, weaponized sweetness, the kind that plays well online and stabs in private. By nightfall, someone had reposted a side-by-side, her curated caption beside my empty chair. A new message from an unknown account said, "Sounds like someone's bitter they didn't get the spotlight." I didn't reply. I opened an old folder. Inside were shots from the planning stages, me directing staff, adjusting lights, coordinating deliveries with Celeste. I looked at one photo where I stood pointing toward the cake table, the layout pinned under my fingers. I remembered how proud I'd been of the gold backdrop we sourced last minute, how Jolene hugged me after it arrived and whispered, "You're my secret weapon." Now I was a secret, all right. They wanted to erase me quietly. I was going to make that silence roar. The morning it started unraveling wasn't loud. It was quiet, too quiet. I was sipping black coffee in my Portland apartment when the first alert pinged, then the second, then 10 more. I opened my phone to a flurry of tags. A national lifestyle brand had reposted one of my screenshots. No edits, no context, just this caption. We believe in integrity and inclusion. Our collaboration with Jolene has been discontinued effective immediately. I blinked. Scrolling further, I saw another statement from a skincare partner. We are pausing future content featuring Jolene until further review. By mid-afternoon, gossip blogs had picked it up. Not because of me, because of her downfall. Screenshots of Jolene's messages were circulating, leaked by someone inside, showing her asking vendors to minimize shots with the logistics girl, to keep visuals on brand. I didn't feel joy. Not really. I just felt still. I opened my laptop and pulled up a blank invoice template. It wasn't petty. It was precise. Logistics support invoice. To Jolene Miles. Event, birthday celebration services, vendor coordination, crisis handling, floor planning, guest list edits. Total, $20,000. Status, voided note. 100% off sisterhood gone. I converted it to PDF. Attached it to a blank message. No caption, no emojis, sent. And closed my laptop. Later that night, I found the little note she'd taped to my returned gift weeks before. Love the thought, just doesn't match the vibe of the party. Maybe next time. That had been it. 4 years of love and design sensibility dismissed for not matching the vibe. She didn't need my help. She needed a servant who wouldn't ask to be seen. Danae called around 9. I answered on speaker while folding laundry. She's trending, and not the good kind. I know. You didn't even post today, and she's sinking. I paused. I stopped holding up what didn't hold me. She was silent. Then, that's the coldest line I've ever heard. You're terrifying when you're calm. I laughed quietly, not bitter, not triumphant, just clear. Jolene didn't reply to the invoice, but for the first time in years, she couldn't ignore it either. A week passed, then 2. The noise faded. Online threads lost momentum, PR buzz cooled. Jolene's name stopped trending, but not before the damage solidified. I returned to my usual routine. Coffee in the morning, work during the day, dinner with myself in quiet peace. Then came the envelope. Cream-colored, thick paper. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable. I sat at the table for a moment, envelope resting untouched in my hand, like it held more weight than it should. Inside, a handwritten letter. Every curve of every letter was hers. I see it now. I let the spotlight blind me to what mattered. I don't expect a reply, but I am sorry. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I read it once, folded it back neatly, and slid it into a drawer beside spare batteries and a broken watch. Things that used to matter. A few days later, Danae and I were at a small brunch hosted by a local businesswomen's group. Portland sunshine filtered through the patio umbrellas. That's when I saw Malik. He looked the same. Pressed shirt, confident stride. Too polished, too easy. He caught my eye, hesitated, then walked over, holding 2 glasses. Hey, it's been a while. I nodded. Sure has. He smiled like he expected more. I didn't give it. Danae placed her hand lightly on my back. I turned to her, ignoring Malik as he lingered another beat, then walked away. It didn't sting. It didn't even echo. He'd become just another chapter I didn't need to reread. Later that afternoon, I opened a DM from Lauren, one of our distant cousins. I never said anything back then, but I saw how they treated you. You didn't deserve it. You made me look at the family differently. I stared at her message longer than I thought I would, then typed back. Thank you. That means more than you know. I hadn't posted in weeks, but the silence no longer felt like holding my breath. It felt like breath itself. I kept the invoice in a folder on my laptop, still marked voided. The matching glassware I once gifted? It now sat on my own shelf, right next to my wine glasses. I used it last night while watching a movie. It felt right, like I'd finally claimed something back. I didn't need to burn the bridge, I just stopped rebuilding it. Sometimes, healing doesn't look like a reunion. It looks like choosing silence over spectacle, like walking away without slamming the door, because you finally know you never needed to be in that house to begin with. Looking back, I don't regret speaking up. I regret waiting so long to do it. To anyone out there who's ever felt like the background character in their own story, I want you to know this. You don't have to wait for permission to reclaim your place. You are not too sensitive. You're aware. You're loyal. You're powerful when you're clear. We often protect dysfunction in the name of family, but truth is, real love doesn't demand silence. Real connection doesn't require invisibility. You can choose peace without tolerating disrespect. And maybe that invoice was never about money. Maybe it was about value, and finally learning to charge what you're worth. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been treated like a support act in your own life? What would you put on your voided invoice to someone who took you for granted? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading every word. If this story resonated with you, even a little, drop a 1 in the comments or tell me where you're watching from. If it didn't, tell me why. Let's talk. This is a space for real voices, not just perfect endings. And hey, don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories like this one. We've got more truth, more healing, and more voices ready to be heard. Hit that bell so you never miss when the next story drops. Thanks for staying with me till the end. I see you now, and I hope you see yourself too.